you dream of oak-lined streets, grand porches, and a neighborhood where the architecture tells a story before you even walk through the front door? Right here in New Orleans, there's one area that delivers all of that and the price tag to match. I'm Margaret, born and raised right here in New Orleans, and I handle luxury and historic properties right here in this city. Today we're going beyond the listing photos and asking prices. We're looking at the homes in the golden rectangle, what they actually sold for, and what you need to have locked in before you make your move. So let's start with what the golden rectangle is, because the name gets used a lot and it deserves a real definition. Picture a rectangle drawn on a map. St. Charles Avenue runs on one edge. The Mississippi Levee closes off the other side. Audubon Park anchors the heart of it, and Magazine Street runs parallel as the neighborhood's cultural spine. Everything inside of those four boundaries is what the locals call the golden rectangle. And once you spend any real time there, you understand exactly why the name stuck. Audubon Park alone is 350 acres of live oaks, walking paths, and a 1.8-mile loop that residents use every single morning. Joggers, dog walkers, cyclists, families on the grass, all within a short walk of their front doors. The levee sits right there too, and those sunset walks above the river are something you simply cannot replace anywhere else in this city. Magazine Street gives the neighborhood its daily rhythm. Coffee shops, wine bars, boutiques, bookstores, and some of the best local restaurants in New Orleans, all within a few blocks of your front door. You do not need to get in your car to live well here. The walkability is genuine, and buyers pay for it. Then there's the university factor. Tulane and Loyola both sit right at the edge of this neighborhood. That institutional presence drives long-term rental demand, supports local businesses, and adds a layer of resale stability you won't find in most other New Orleans zip codes. And the architecture. Greek Revival, Victorian, Creole cottage. These homes are not being replicated anywhere. Historic designation protects them. Nobody is tearing down a century-old home to build a glass box next door. What you're buying here is irreplaceable, and the sold data we're about to walk you through will show you exactly what the market thinks it's worth. Now here's where this video is different from anything else you'll find on this neighborhood. We're not talking about list prices. We're talking about what buyers actually paid. Closed transactions, real numbers, the market telling us the truth. The golden rectangle breaks into four distinct pockets, and understanding how they stack up against each other is the most important thing you can do before you start making offers. Let's start at the top, because Audubon is in a category of its own. The average sold price in Audubon is $2.177 million. Average days on market at time of sale, 5 days. Price per square foot, $498 a square foot. Let those numbers sit for a moment. 5 days. That is not a market where you schedule a second showing to think over it. When an Audubon home hits the market, the right buyer is already moving. Cash offers, clean financing, no contingency drama. If Audubon is your target, you need to arrive fully prepared, pre-approved, clear on your number, and ready to decide the same day you walk through the door. Hesitation is not a strategy that works here. Next is Audubon Park Riverside, and this is where the active luxury market lives. Average sold price comes in at $1.25 million. Days on market, 22. Price per square foot, $460 per square foot. Park front access, genuine uptown prestige, and a buyer pool that is engaged and moving. For a cash-strong relocator or a long-term family buyer who wants the park experience, this is the tier worth watching closely for. Now here's where it gets interesting, because the second tier is where most buyers are actually making decisions. Upper Hurstville, what the market calls UHSD, averages $1.275 million on sold transactions, with 30 days on market and $437 per square foot. Strong uptown bones, the community structure, the community culture, the Magazine Street access, the architectural character, at a per square foot rate that still reflects real demand. Buyers are confident here and the inventory does not sit. Then there's West Riverside, and this is your clearest entry point to the Audubon orbit. Average sold price of $831,000. Average days on market 33. Same uptown energy, same neighborhood identity, same dog-friendly parks and book-loving neighbors. But you're coming in with a meaningfully lower price tag. And that 33-day average tells you the market here is just as active as anywhere else inside these boundaries. For a buyer who wants to be part of this community without the $1.2 million starting point, West Riverside is absolutely the conversation to have. So here's the insight I want you to hold on to as we move through the rest of this video. A few blocks of distance inside the golden rectangle can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in purchase price, while keeping you inside the same cultural world, the same schools, the same Saturday morning routine at Audubon Park. The question is not whether this neighborhood is worth it. The sold data already answered that. The question is in which pocket fits your financial position and your timeline right now. So let's talk about what actually looks like inside of the golden rectangle. The good and the things nobody puts in the brochure. The green space is generally unmatched. Audubon Park is not a weekend destination for those residents. It's their backyard. The 1.8-mile loop, the levee sunsets, the oak canopy overhead. Magazine Street is 3 minutes from your front door. That combination of walkability and natural beauty is rare in any American city. And in New Orleans, it's singular. You're not driving to a park on Saturday morning. You're walking out of your front door and you're already there. These homes also hold value different than any new construction. You're not buying square footage that can be replicated in a division across the lake. You're buying something that cannot be rebuilt. A Victorian double with original heart pine floors, a Greek revival with 12-foot ceilings and plaster crown molding. Historic designation protects all of that. These properties move through the market cycles in a way that generic new builds simply don't. The sold numbers we walked through earlier are the proof. And this is a neighborhood with a real identity. Dog lovers, book lovers, gardeners, civic-minded people who show up. The community culture here didn't come from a marketing plan. It grew over generations, and you feel it in the moment you move in. Add Tulane and Loyola anchoring the edge of the neighborhood, and you have a resale and rental foundation that most buyers would pay a premium for, as the data shows they do. Now for the honest part. The entry barrier is real. Even at the West Riverside end of the market, you're averaging $831,000 on closed sales. And these homes are old. A 20-year-old roof, a 100-year-old foundation, 100-year-old plumbing. None of that is optional upkeep. You need a separate financial plan for maintenance before you close, not after. This is not a budget you figure out on the move-in day. Then there's property taxes. New Orleans assessments are tied to market value, and in the golden rectangle, market value is high. When you're buying at $831,000 on the low end and at $2.177 million at the top, your tax bill reflects that. Homeowners insurance and the maintenance reserve we just talked about, and your all-in monthly cost is very different number than the mortgage payment number alone. You need to run the full number, not just principal and interest, before you fall in love with the listing. And if you're targeting Audubon specifically, the $2.177 million 5-day on-market pocket, you need to arrive fully prepared, pre-approved at the right level, clear on your financing structure, ready to move in the day you walk in. Coming in unprepared is just not a missed opportunity, it's a disqualifier. So who should buy here? Long-term families who want roots, not just a zip code. Relocators from New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago who understand that $1.2 million in the golden rectangle buys what $3 million or more would buy in markets that they're leaving. And buyers who've already done the work, watched the vlog, studied the map, and feel the pull. That instinct is usually right. Who should look elsewhere? First-time home buyers who need low maintenance, modern construction, and a predictable monthly cost. Buyers who want large yard space over walkability and culture. Metairie or Covington may be the better fit, and there's no shame in that. It's simply a different lifestyle. The golden rectangle rewards those who are ready for it, financially, emotionally, and strategically. If that sounds like you, I would love to help you make your move to the big, easiest, smooth one. All of our contact info is in the description, whether you're thinking about moving in 9 or 90 days. And be sure to check out our map tour of Uptown so you can see where all of these boundaries fall. See you next time.